What is up, guys? Systematic Psycho here, and today we're on a little bit of War Thunder, and this is going to be something just a little different than some gameplay. And I apologize ahead of time if there's any random or weird cuts, mainly because I'm recording at a time where it's the middle of the day and it's a little loud outside, and yeah. So, recently Fly actually did a video that kind of inspired this, basically ranting about War Thunder, and I think he recently just did another video that I haven't actually watched yet, about something about ammo racks or whatnot. But, so, I've been playing a lot of War Thunder. I've been playing for a while. You can actually see the first time that I ever played War Thunder. I guess I'll link it, just if you want to see how long ago that I actually first started playing. But my first experience with War Thunder was a video called Stalin with Stalin, just because. But anyway, so just to get a little credibility here with the amount of time, I'll post a little picture of how many hours I have in this game, comment away. But actually, I really want to encourage you guys to leave comment and leave feedback on my opinions, because I really, really want to hear what you guys have to say. And I normally don't ask this, but share this video or just get the word out. I'm curious to see what people have to say about this. I don't make any money. I don't monetize my videos, so there's no financial gain from this or anything. But yeah, really curious, so leave some feedback. But yeah, so first let's go and just see all the stuff that I have currently. And I occasionally, I buy premium whenever I have a little bit extra money. I'll go and I'll spend some money on some Golden Eagles to help with the grind. But I have every American tank. I have almost all the important U.S. planes. The only big planes I don't have is the new Canberra and the F9F and the F2 HIV. And some of the new P-38s. I have a couple of them, but so yeah, I have a lot of planes. We'll just go through the really quick. I just want to have a little bit of weight behind my statements that I'm gonna make here. German planes, you can see everything I have there. Haven't quite made it into jets yet. I want to get the 163. That thing's such a troll. Tanks, working on my first Tiger II. Love that AA or 88. Russia, I haven't played too much Russia. I was playing Russia earlier. I unlocked the ZSU-37, and I'm trying to get the PT-76 now, just for its heat rounds. Want to give it a try. I know it's thin armored as hell. British, I ground them up actually really fast. British were really easy to get up, and something I'll go into depth there later. I actually skipped Russian planes. There's British planes. Here's Russian planes. Here's where I'm at. The least I think played faction is Jap, just because I'm not super interested in their planes, but I'll occasionally play them. So the first topic that I want to tackle here is battle ratings. And I'll actually probably throw a little bit of just random gameplay in the background if I'm not specifically showing you something, and I'll cut back and forth, depending on how much I feel like editing. Anyway, so the battle ratings, specifically with tank, that's what I've been playing a lot lately, so I guess this more pertains to tanks, and I have more fun playing tanks anyway, not to take away from planes, it's not fun. But the most toxic thing about War Thunder is this battle rating of 3.7, and it is a huge victim of the whole battle rating conundrum, or whatever the hell you want to call it. So Americans get tanks like the Sherman, which is a decent tank. I actually really like the Sherman at that tier. It's got a decent armor to kind of give you a little bit of a chance, but and then I'll hop over to Germany. And Germany has a lot of flat armor at this tier, so there's no bouncing shots. I mean, sometimes you can get the shittily placed shots on Germans, but if you have a hard time hitting Germans at 3.7 battle rating, you should probably play a little bit more and just get a little more experience with that, because I've never had a problem killing Germans. And with Russia, here's my biggest complaint: the Russian riots. That's the huge controversy, and it always has been. The forum mod. I've never posted on the forum whatsoever about this. I've never posted on the forum just because some of the moderators and stuff, they like to make jokes about it and be like, "Oh, you just get good, just get good." It's like, I'm good and I can fucking destroy Russian tanks. Doesn't mean they're not annoying. When I play Russian tanks and I'm on Russian teams, I hardly ever lose. Let me actually show you something really quick before I get into the Russian tanks. Huge big deal. And I want to stay on. I want to try to stay on topic. I'm really shitty during these ranty videos. Oh, look, I'm already here. So we're gonna click on army. A lot of this was done before the whole battle rating change of a few T-34s. Look at the fucking win-loss ratios on these tanks. It's absolutely 91% of games in the SU-122, and I'm a decent player. And I can sometimes, lower tier rounds, I'm really good at, like, making rounds and, like, being the last guy left and killing a lot of people. But, I mean, I don't even have to do that to get all these kills. I mean, 40 deaths, 200 kills, and a tank that's very pinnable from the front, but T-34, 1941. These are all around the 3.3, 3.7 battle rating, by the way. 1941, 93% win-loss ratio. 217 tanks killed. 72k gas. I think once you're down to that, you basically felt like you've lost. 70% win-loss ratio. KV2, 73%. 71, 90, 75. And you can see I have a decent amount of rounds and kills in these tanks. I haven't played them a whole bunch, but I don't think the stats are going to change. So if you're going to say there's not an imbalance at the 3.7 battle rating, you're sadly mistaken. I mean, the effectiveness of the T-34's armor is so exaggerated in this game, and I'm not saying it wasn't good. The T-34 on paper was a great tank, and that's why it's a great tank in War Thunder. I mean, real life, it suffered a lot of flaws. It was cramped. It was, this and that, but that stuff doesn't get simulated in War Thunder, so that's why a lot of these Russian tanks perform so well in game. And people are like, oh, why don't you, add malfunctioning Tigers and Panthers? That doesn't add to gameplay. That takes away from it. That makes it a pain in the ass. But you're kind of stuck in the spot if it's like, oh, just up the battle rating of the T-34. The T-34 is a really good tank in this tier, but you jump it up to 4.0, 4.3, you start to see Tigers with these guys. And these guns, this is 1942, let's see, for example. These guns can hardly fight a frontal Tiger. I mean, up to probably about 300 meters with this APCR round. To frontally fight a Tiger that you can actually pin something. So then, there's where the gameplay gets bad, and then the Tigers can roll in and club the shit out of them. And the Tiger 1s are actually pretty good at their tier unless they get tiered up, which is kind of unfortunate. But, I mean, to say, and I'll actually, really quick, before I just, point out Russians and not look at my other tiers, so we'll take a look at Germany. So Germany, as I mentioned, the Tiger H1's a good tank. The Germany, my battle rating is 60, or my win-loss ratio is 68.1%, which, it's a good tank. It might be a little over-tiered, whatnot. And it's something I actually want to talk about later, about model years and battle ratings and stuff like that. Panzer F2, 35%. 69 deaths, 156 ground targets killed. So basically a 2-to-1 kill death ratio in this tank. A little, if not a little more, whatever. And I'm still only winning 35% of the matches. My teams, it doesn't come down to bad German teams or bad this team's bad that. This tank has no fucking armor. It has, I think, 50 or 60 mils of frontal armor, and cannot take a shot. For shit. It's got a decent gun, yeah, but when you really don't want to risk shooting the hull of a T-34 and only shoot for the turret, then it gets very frustrating. Even though you see all this pin on this APCR, 175 mils, that sounds awesome. That round bounces like crazy. It's an APCR, all APCR rounds bounce like crazy. And how do I know this? I've played 1,600 hours of War Thunder. And I don't mean that in a condescending anyway. I just mean that I've played this game long enough to see all the bullshit. This is a good round. I like to use the AP-HE when I can. Heat's pretty much useless at this tier. 80 mils is whatever. But anyway, yeah, so these tanks are so lackluster when it comes to their armor. They get hit once and they're dead, and oh my god, the Russian rounds one-shot. And I can't really comment too much on this. I think something's a little fishy here. But these Russian rounds, the amount of high explosive in these fucking rounds is ridiculous. 150 grams of TNT, the explosive equivalent of TNT, or I think it is just TNT packed in that round. 150 grams. Do you know what has less than that? I'm pretty sure it has less. Hope I don't feel like an idiot here. I'm just gonna go. Let's do the 90mm gun. Let's just pick the T-32. Its shell's really good. 140 grams. So you're telling me that the Russian 76mm gun has more high explosive in its AP-HE round than an American long 90mm gun? I mean, the 90mm gun on the T-32 is the best 90mm in the American line, minus its fire rate. This round absolutely Shrek stuff, but you're 7.3 battle rating, so you're saying that those rounds are seriously that effective? It's just, it is beyond me. I don't, like I said, I don't know. Don't go around complaining to everybody and being like, hey, this one guy complained and said this. I could be absolutely wrong. It seems funny to me, so take that with a grain of salt, whatever. I know, I guess I'll really quickly show you my Americans, and then I'll get on to something else that people complain about. And it's not 100% the game, it's also the community. That's a big deal. So, we'll go to USA. So, I mean, my win-loss ratio is pretty average for what you'd see for most American players, but it's like a 50% win-loss ratio, which is how it should be, honestly, across all board. They should have it balanced where it's a 50% win-loss ratio for all tanks and teams, because it's really easy for Russians to drive up the middle of the map and get tons of kills when you only have to worry about being pinned in your turret. So as long as you shoot somebody fast enough, it's whatever. But I mean, the honestly the tank that I feel that I honestly do the best in, which I think is the best tank in the game, the M60, because it's ridiculous heat round. 66% win-loss ratio, 168 deaths, 515 kills. It's not super hard to do that, to be completely honest, but M19 is fucking terrible. But I mean, let's take a regular tank here. Let's take let's do a Sherman. Let's do a Sherman. M4 Sherman, 3.7. 40. That's a 3.7 battle rating, so you can see the dip in the win-loss ratio. 42.9%, 43 deaths, 108 kills, 2-1. My team still loses like crazy. But yeah. So I guess one major point that I want to touch on as well. I don't want this video to go on too long. And I really hate to just bitch, but I love War Thunder. I love it as a platform, and I love the potential that it has. And I'll continue to play it even after I rant and cry about it, and I'll continue to post videos on it when I can. And I've actually been busy for real reasons lately, so I haven't been able to post anything, but soon. But anyway, so the whole the Tiger built prototype 1941 fighting tanks, freaking 1946 and a half. The thing is War Thunder doesn't simulate crew conditions, crew effectiveness, tank malfunctions, this, that, the tank was built in, this, that. It's all about the effectiveness of a vehicle in battle. It does not fucking matter what year that tank was built on. Unfortunately, Gaussian does a terrible job at compressing BRs and putting tanks, specifically Russian tanks, but there's other tanks in other lines that are not very good, or ultra good, on certain ends of the spectrum, and placed at the complete wrong battle ratings, and then kind of ruin this whole system up, so people tend to not see this. But the Tiger 1 is a very competitive tank. It's got the 88. 88's a great gun, by the way. I mean, it's got a decent reload rate. Let's see, on this guy, what's it at? 8.5 seconds? That's pretty decent for a medium tank gun. That's faster than, most guns. Faster than the American 90 mil, which I kind of hate, but whatever. But yeah, the Tiger has decent armor. It's got some, like, stupid spots that you tend to hit all the fucking time. Like, I'll show you really quickly what I mean. Or not crew, what the hell am I doing? Customization. Boom. Alright, so yeah, you tend to hit these, like, stupid spots here. Like this. You'll hit this port all the fucking time and your round just evaporates, or you hit this machine gun port and your round evaporates. And sometimes you'll even hit this thicker armor. So it's a pain in the ass. So this Tiger has a lot of weak spots. You can also angle the Tiger and get a little extra armor out of it too. I mean, it's a decent tank at its tier, and then people complain. It's like, why is it fighting this tank? Why is it fighting that tank? Let's compare it against I don't know. Let's say an IS-2. It's a pretty good tank to tie up there. So 6.0. Why should it fight this tank? This was Joseph Stalin, 1943. Actually, let's see if it says. I don't know what year. Oh, I was right. 43, 44. So that's a few years later than the Tiger 1. It's like, well, why should this tank be pitted up against it? That's not historically accurate. I mean, I'm sure they fought each other, but the IS-2, or let's go. The IS-2 is very pinnable by the 88. Not much armor there. 122. If you shoot right there at any angle, you're very likely to pin. You get the side, stuff like that. And the Tiger 1 remains effective against this tank. Sure, it gets one-shotted by it because it's got a 122mm cannon, but you put himself in a position to be able to kick his ass, then, and you make him miss his shot, because it's not the easiest gun to hit shots with. It's not hard either, but you can overcome this tank pretty easily. You do have some stupid spots where your round just somehow fucking peers, but right here into this armor, if you shoot into this cheek, somehow the tank just eats it, but I think it's because of this stupid little overlapping armor. But yeah, I mean, so the fact that you're like, oh, how can that tank go against that? Because it's effective. I mean, let's go get one more example. I know this is running probably kind of long here, but let's take a look at the Tiger. And I'm not justifying this at all. I think it is stupid with the compressed battle ratings, but people freak out. 1940. I guess this tank would have been technically a 1945 tank if it had its chance, and Germany was still producing tanks like they wanted to. Is that a machine gun tucked behind the? Oh, cool. It goes right through the mantlet there. But yeah, so it's like, oh, why is this fighting M60s, or why is this fighting T-54s? Well, first of all, it's got a 105mm gun. It's a really good gun. It's maybe not as consistent as it should be, but this tank can effectively deal with stuff like that. Granted, once you get heat rounds, this all armor in the game ever becomes irrelevant. Even the mouse can't even deal with a decent heat round. Um, but I mean, this gun can defeat armor. I mean, you can pin the front of an M60's turret or anywhere on the turret. I mean, it doesn't matter what angle you're at. You can pin that or the T-54. And I feel like I'm kind of condoning the get good attitude because it's such bullshit and it comes from the forum moderators and shit all the time. But these tanks can deal with higher tier tanks. The Mouse too. It's like, oh, Mouse was made then. Why is it fighting this? The 128 millimeter gun is a really, really good gun. It's terrible to miss because of its reload rate, but it absolutely destroys. It fucking destroys. I forgot why I got to use the 128, but I got some kind of like free premium tank or something. I don't know what the hell I got, but I got a chance to use it in battle, and and it was amazing. But yeah, so there's a lot of issues between the community and the devs being complete idiots, but some people like to claim that, the tank should be historically matched up. Well, then you'd have to have like 30 T-34s versus like 5 Panthers and a few Panzer IVs, and then, you can see how that could get out of hand very quickly because a lot of the things aren't simulated very well. If you want a somewhat fair experience or a historically accurate-ish experience, play Tank Sim. They kind of match up time period tanks. This is not really the greatest. I mean, you got the Leopard 1 here versus all the later tier American tanks, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of stupid shit about this game that makes me very frustrated. Wish would change. So, what I would do to fix it, just to basically summarize, is stretch the battle ratings out, and they're always going to be adding more tanks, so they're always going to be able to fill the gap. So, I mean, just as for starters, go to a 10.0 system. And keep the battle rating spread of the matchmaking. I think it's 1.3 or something that you can get tiered up to, or maybe 1.7. I can't remember. The battle rating's higher than what you currently are. Add the 10.0 system. Take a look at the stats of all the fucking tanks, and put them in the respective BR. If they're overperforming compared to tanks at that BR, raise their BR. Raise it 0.3. If it's not good, then raise it another 0.3. If it does absolutely terrible once you raise it 0.3, then have the community vote on whether they should drop it, or raise it, lower it, keep it the same. The community is the one who plays the tanks the most, not the developers. There's 30,000 people playing this game right now. I'm sure they could give you just a little bit of feedback. A lot of the stuff in the forums tends to get ignored because of how stupid some people tend to be, because they generally create a forum account to complain. I've thought about it tons of times. It's like, oh, I have something to post to the forums. It's actually something negative. I'm not even going to bother. That's the only time I've ever wanted to post stuff to the forums, honestly. And like I said, this is a great game. They're doing a lot of really cool things that no other game is doing, but they're also fucking up a lot of things. So, uncompress the VR, do a 10.0 system, let the community vote, and give some feedback, because I feel like they just implement these battle rating changes absolutely ridiculously. And I'd really like to see, this is kind of a gray area too, but they have their secret documents, as people like to say, but I'd like to see some sources and citations. I mean, the only problem is they usually pay a lot of money and pay money to get these documents and to be able to collect this information. So to be able to just be like, oh, hey, we paid 1,000. I mean, I don't actually know. We paid 1,000 rubles, comrade, for this document, and they're just gonna show it to the public. Like, that's kind of weird, but some other sources just seem really, really funny. Just the way things, how effective 60 millimeters or 60 degree sloped armor actually performs. I mean, I've seen people say, oh, that's never happened. I've bounced the front of this T-34, 45 millimeters of armor, so many times with the 88, the short 88. As a matter of fact, I've done it with the Sabo and the Walker Bulldog too, and Sabos don't like to bounce. So, I mean, I really don't know how to go about that, but I really would like to see some sources, like even just small things, to see how effective that armor could be. I mean, because they have some really cool simulation models in this game. I mean, the fact that we can go in and view our armor and see all this kind of stuff in tanks is amazing. But, I mean, yeah, some of their sources just seem really funny, and I've seen plenty of times where people go in the forums and are like, hey, look, we found this. Okay, we need 2 sources. Okay, here's a second source. Okay, we'll process this. And then it gets completely ignored. We get no, hey, this is what we found, and this is why this is incorrect, or none of that. They're just like, oh yeah, we'll process this, and we get no feedback after that. Because I do stalk the forums occasionally and just see what people are doing, but it's so toxic on there. And then there's some planes that just don't fucking make sense in this game. I perform awkwardly well. Looking at you. I mean, you guys know this is the fridge launcher. This thing is so easy to take in a tank RB game. Something I almost want to think that Fly talked about this in his video, but I saw it on the forums actually before I heard it in Fly's video. If anything, have a plain tank BR in tank battles. Have planes have a different BR. You see how this Yak is a 4.3? This is a tank destroyer. This 37mm gun destroys tank 60mm a pin. Let's say 42mm for engagement distance 500 meters. You're getting through the top armor of all tanks. What's that? I take it out all the time. That's why it's in this lineup right here. This is my current Russian lineup. I have a IS-2, but I have this TV that I recently got from purchasing with dog tags, and that gives me some more RP. So I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll take it out. No, I still keep the Yak-19 anyway. But yeah, this plane needs to have its BR range. We have 5.3 for tank BRs. I mean, if I click on tank realistic battles, I should go down here and see 5.3, and then I could go down to air realistic battles and see this just say 4.3 again, or however the hell I'm sure it needs to be higher anyway. This tank, or this it's pretty much a tank with wings, performs so well. And I guess one last thing touching on that point is that I think, and I don't fly this plane, I probably would if I had it in tank battles and high tier Germans. The Ho got its battle rating range because of how it performed. I think this is what sparked the whole tank BR for planes thing. It got its battle rating raised. The plane is not that. I mean, it's a good plane. It rips like crazy, but it's not as good as some of the other 8.0 battle rating planes. It dumps its energy so fast. It may turn well, but it doesn't accelerate particularly fast and stuff like that. And so when you actually go to play this thing in plane battles, I just want to make sure I'm not going to eat my words here. I just want to check. This thing's going to get absolutely mushed at 8.0. Let's see what it's fighting. So we'll 9.0, so it can be tiered with a saber, no problem. Let's look at the best plane in the game right here. Or well, actually that's Hawker Hunter now, but they can be tiered with this. That's an 8.0 even. This. These planes can destroy the Ho. I mean, the Ho's a good. I mean, it's got the 30mm guns, but they freaking shred tanks because of like their 100 mils a pin or whatever. But it doesn't mean it's a good dogfighter in just plane battle. So why not have a plane, BR? I mean, of course, I understand these things take time. Maybe it's in the works. I don't know. They don't tell us everything. But, yeah, I hope... I'm freeballing this right now. I don't have any notes or anything, but I'm a little frustrated, and I like this game, and I enjoy playing it, and I will continue to play it. But, there's just a lot of things that make you go, what the hell? And, I'm sure you'll see in my upcoming videos me complaining about stuff or some other rants, but I'll try to keep it to the minimum. I'll try to make a specific separate video. But, yeah, not that I'm doing him any justice, but shout out to Fly for kind of giving me a little bit of inspiration to actually do this video. And I just had some ideas, and I figured I'd get them out there. But seriously, I'd like to see your comments and feedback on what I just said there. Leave a like, dislike. If you leave a dislike, tell me fucking why. Don't just leave a dislike and just back off and be like, get good Russian tank, obviously not as good as you make them sound. Well, why can I drive out the middle of the fucking map and, play really well and not have to try? But, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed, and more videos to come hopefully soon. I've been really actually busy lately, working and stuff, so yeah, so I hope you enjoy. Peace out, guys.